special discounts, free access to the library for life, an alumni e-magazine, special events, networks, and career and professional development opportunities. We celebrate and champion our graduates' stories and achievements, so stay connected and stay informed. Graduation is an amazing milestone and one step on a lifelong partnership with Macquarie. That's you to the power of us. Stay connected by letting us know where your journey takes you. Simply update your details at mq.edu.au/alumni.
Well, good afternoon, graduands. Welcome to this very special occasion for you. You're graduating. Some of you probably thought you'd never get here. But you start out and you say, oh, 3 years, 4 years, but it's gone like that. Snap of the fingers and it's all over. And you're ready to sign up for your next degree, or your PhD maybe. Anyway, look, my congratulations to you. I know it's hard work and you miss out on a lot of your social life, but you can eat lots of pizzas and drink lots of coffee while you're studying and getting assignments done. Now, there's quite a few today. There's over 200 graduating this afternoon. Now, not all are here, as you can see. So some of you are going to have to be teachers. You're going to have to show them what to do. So listen to me and I'll tell you what to do and you can tell them what to do, or they can copy you. Oh, I hope they copy the right thing and not the wrong thing. But anyway, look, welcome to one of these great occasions in your life. It's never to be missed. My daughter's partner has 3 degrees and he didn't go to any of them. He couldn't be bothered. And I get very cross with him. No, I haven't abused him. He's too big for me. But he didn't go because he didn't see it worthwhile. But it is worthwhile. It doesn't happen every day of your life, does it? Okay, so what's happening today? Well, I'll go through some processes, but the big thing is you are going to change from graduands to graduates. Okay, the last 3 letters change. And you're graduands because you haven't graduated. And that's what's going to happen. So shortly, we'll get underway. The academic procession will come in and they'll take their places here. You'll be asked to stand for that. The national anthem will be played and we ask you to join in the singing, but we also ask you, as a sign of respect, that you remove your trenches for the national anthem. At the end, put them back on. Tassel should be on your left, okay? Where they are now. And I think they're tied in place, so they shouldn't go anywhere else other than there. So at the end of the national anthem, you'll sit down. As I say, replace your trenches and we'll proceed with the ceremony. There'll be a welcome to country from Uncle Chris Tobin. He will come up and address you from this lectern. Then at the conclusion of that, the presiding officer will be introduced. The presiding officer will talk to you about the university, where it's going, how many graduates we have spread across the world, over 100 countries, I believe. And then we'll introduce what we call an occasional speaker. An occasional speaker is like a guest speaker, but it's a name associated with graduation ceremonies, in universities in particular. They will address you, telling a bit about their experiences and how they may be able to help you. Those experiences may be able to help you in your future. Now, what happens then? That's when you will be conferred your degrees upon you. You'll be asked to stand. The acting register at this lectern will give guarantees to the presiding officer that you have satisfied all the requirements for the award of your degree. You're here, so you must have. Okay? So, you, as I say, you'll be asked to stand for that. The presiding officer will then confer the degrees upon you. An usher will collect the last row. You'll go down the side, around the back. I'll be there, but I won't be doing this. Somebody else will be doing this. You'll get one of these. Inside is your testamer with your name on it, your academic transcript, and your, as I say, your testamer, which is this one with the emblem on the top. I ask you to hold it like that. Now, you came in with a mobile phone, I suspect. I don't think you'd have got in without it. Bring it with you. Don't leave it behind. Gentlemen, if you have a pocket, put it in your pocket. If you have pockets, put them in your pocket, because they're of no use once you're around the back. What we ask is that you we'll put that in front, and we'll put the phone behind it. Okay, so it's hidden there, held together by those fingers. And we ask you to sort of display it about there. Okay, so be ready for that when you go around the back, and make sure you use your that left hand, not that left hand. Okay, so in your left hand there, and we hold it here for the photograph. Okay, so you'll walk across behind the stage, and you'll come up the ramp at that corner. At that lectern is the presenting officer, one of the deans of the faculty or a professor from that lectern over there. Now, you'll have your name checked 3 times. People around the back, who will give you this. Somebody at that corner, an officer there, will check your name. And when you get over to that lectern, your name will be checked again. The presenting officer, sometimes he wants to look around, or she look around to see who's there. And if they have better eyesight than me, they'll be able to read your name. Okay? Then they will introduce you. Give your name, first up, the degree which you have been awarded. Do you have any Masters of Research with us this morning? No. Okay, that's fine. Just makes things just slightly easier. You walk across that lectern. Presenting officer will read your name and, for want of a better word, salute you, but just an acknowledgement that you are there. And that's a custom for all graduation ceremonies, not only in Australia, but everywhere. So just do that. And we ask you to reciprocate. Just do that. Now, I was not going to say helmets, the top of your trenches is a little bit higher than you might suspect. Okay? But if you miss it, don't worry. Just make sure you don't poke your eye out. Okay, so just do that and give a slight nod. You walk across the stage, and you come to this point here, where you'll have your photograph taken. There's a cross on the floor here. Presiding officer will stand there. And come here, take over. Go away. Anyway, we don't have those intrusions often. So you come here for your photograph. If you're halfway across or most of the way across here, and you say, oh, I forgot to do that, don't worry, you don't have to go back and have another go. Okay, just keep coming across. So, stand here for your photograph. Keep the folder open. Now this is your official photograph of your graduation. Make sure it's the best one, okay, that you've ever had taken. If you can remember anything while it's being taken, smile, okay? Because there's nothing worse than you go around the back and say, I don't like that, you can't come back and have another go. Okay? So it's a one-off only. You then leave the stage here, down that opening, and down the aisle on the right. Don't try and jump those ropes as some people have tried to do. Okay? So down the opening, back to your row. You won't necessarily be in the same seat that you're in now. Probably strong guarantee that you won't. Follow the instructions of the ushers. Just walk along that row and fill up the next available seat. Okay? Until you come there. Even if you're in that row, you might end up in this row. So just be aware of that. So you've come and sat down. And then there'll be a graduate speaker's address. We have someone for that, I'm sure. Yes, I was speaking to someone earlier. And then the session will close. Okay? I think I have a bit of opposition here, so I'll wrap it up. After the occasional speaker, there'll be a musical interlude, and then the presiding officer will close the ceremony. Then you will all leave the hall. Follow the academic procession, 2 rows at a time, folks. Okay. I'll let them do the talking now and I'll go. See you later.
Experience. It's the teacher of all things. Its lessons propel you forward to overcome obstacles and learn how far you can go. It's what makes you, you. And it's at the heart of every Macquarie University degree. It means you can combine virtual and on-campus learning and personalise your degree. With courses co-created by industry leaders and degrees with inbuilt internships, you learn directly from those with experience. When you're powered by our collective, you get the experience you need to get ahead. You become more than just you. You become you to the power of us. Macquarie University.
When you graduate from Macquarie University, you become part of our alumni community. A vast connected network that spans the globe. With thought leadership and networking events, locally and around the world. Where you can connect with other alumni, find a future employer or employee. Also, as part of the alumni community, you have access to a wide range of benefits, including special discounts, free access to the library for life, an alumni e-magazine, special events, networks, and career and professional development opportunities. We celebrate and champion our graduate stories and achievements, so stay connected and stay informed. That's you to the power of us. Stay connected by letting us know where your journey takes you. Simply update your details at mq.edu.au/alumni.
Good afternoon again. I won't bore you for too long. I think I bored everyone over there. Just a few housekeeping matters. Please make sure all mobile phones have been turned to silent. Appreciate that. You're welcome to take photographs, but we ask that you don't stand and impede the view of people behind you. We ask that you don't walk up and down the centre aisle at any time, nor approach the stage. If we need to leave, for whatever reason, please follow the directions of the security staff. They will be here if and when we needed them, and so far we haven't needed them. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. There are facilities for portraits out the back. There's a studio. You can't go through this way, you have to go around and go into the studio that they've set up for portrait family, for graduates and family photographs. So please avail yourself of that opportunity. If you've left items in the cloakroom, we ask that you collect those as soon as possible after the ceremony. And graduates, it's happened just the first time in my experience here. The return of your robes is in the back corner over there, not up the upstairs where you picked them up. Used to be up there, but it got too crowded. So in that far corner, unless you're buying them. Official party shouldn't be too far away. I was told to get up here and do my bit. So I've done my bit. So what do I do now? I don't have a thing to do. Some of them asked my life story the other day. Anyway, we'll wait and see, shall we? I'll just let you know for a fact, I've been doing this for 17 years, so I'm pretty accustomed to it. I have to stop this soon, but I'll get as much said as I can. I enrolled at this university in... Do I look that old? 67. I enrolled actually in 66, 1966 that is, not 1866. My number was 675050015. That was my student number. I can recite my tax file number too, but I won't. And first of all, I went to Newcastle Teachers College at the age of 16. I left home at 16, went to Newcastle Teachers College. I turned 17 in March. Okay, that sounds a bit better, doesn't it? I had 2 years there as an industrial arts teacher. Then I went to Batlow and I was 18, teaching my first class. That doesn't happen these days. Anyway, that was good, 3 years in Batlow. There was an excursion came back from Norfolk Island. Our kids went to Norfolk Island and they came back with a message that they didn't have an industrial arts teacher on Norfolk Island. The guy who was there had a motorbike accident, flown back to Australia and unfortunately died. Now, it sounds a bit macabre, but I took advantage of that, which is, doesn't sound nice, does it? So I rang my inspector and I said, "You don't have an industrial arts teacher on Norfolk Island." He said, "You're right." He said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yes, please." So I spent 3 years on Norfolk Island and had to come back because I'd already enrolled in my degree, and the inspector of school said, "Get back to Australia and finish your degree." So I did, and I did Australian World Stratigraphy and Invertebrate Paleontology. They were my two majors. It took a while, because in Norfolk Island I stopped for 12 months and I was penalised, so I had to wait another 2 years before I could roll again. So it took me 6 years, and I was external student then, not full-time. So I was at home, I was getting reel-to-reel lectures on tapes. I had to have a reel-to-reel tape recorder. It sounds a bit odd to a lot of people here, I'd imagine. What is a reel-to-reel tape recorder? We didn't have thumb drives or any of those sorts of things back when Noah was a baby. But anyway, I finished my degree and then I was in Batlow for a while and then they're ready to go. I'll have to finish here. I was just about to tell you I had 12 months teaching in Wales. Anyway, the official party is here. When they enter the hall, they will come up the centre aisle and take their positions on stage. The national anthem will be played, and we invite you to join in the singing of the national anthem. Could you please stand for the academic procession?
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name's Sam Ricketts, and I'm the very proud Pro-Vice Chancellor Indigenous here at Macquarie University. Distinguished guests and graduates, I'd like to invite Uncle Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional acknowledgement of country. Uncle Chris.
Thank you. Warami Midiga, hello friends, good afternoon, and Nalawa, welcome. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we gather here today in Wallamata, the traditional country of the Darug people and ancestral clan lands of the Wallamedigal, the snapperfish folk. I wish to pay my respects to those that have gone before us, our elders and our ancestors, and to thank the University for the invitation to join you for this profoundly significant thing we do when we do acknowledgement of country. For me, it's one of the beautiful and encouraging features of contemporary Australia, where we pay our respects to Aboriginal Australia while affirming ourselves as a nation or a community that believe and care about what is right and work together in common purpose for the environmental and social healing of our country. My family, in fact, descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman from the neighbouring Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. So he enrolled his daughter, Bullangai, or Maria as she's known, into the Native Institute, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them, seeking refuge there during the brutal displacement of Aboriginal people throughout the 1800s. And the place became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name. We're very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. Your success is our success. Your advancement, our advancement. And that was probably better understood in more traditional times when camp groups were smaller and clans abided by strict sharing laws, which meant the food that you caught and brought back was distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the rest of the community, and you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we work together. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a model or a benchmark on how good to expect our lives today. You see, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 250 years ago, he encountered people whom he described as one of the happiest people he'd ever met. They owned nothing, he wrote, but the tools they carried. They were mostly naked, made their shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and fed their families from the earth without excessive tilling or clearing. There was no slavery, no rich and poor, no homelessness, no armies. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, which were then shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state through fire and responsible harvesting. Our rivers and waterways kept clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they've done here in Wallamata for the past 20,000 years or so. So please consider, this is not an ideal or a dream yet to be realised. This is normal life for us and for the longest time. And there is no good reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our ancestors, for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, there's a lot more of us. However, we are a clever people, and there's still much magic in the world, I like to believe. So graduates, I would say expect great and wonderful things from your life. Life is good, we are naturally happy, and normally very good at looking after each other and the earth. I just ask that you share your skills with the rest of us where you can and keep following that beautiful spirit within you that got you this far. Do this and I'm confident we can put together a world we can be proud of and a future that is worthy of our children. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine by winding up and letting you graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you, all the best in our collective futures, and have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Chris. I'm pleased to introduce Chancellor of Macquarie University, Dr. Martin Parkinson, AC.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a highlight of our graduation ceremonies to participate in an acknowledgement of country of the sort that Chris has just generously honoured us by. So, Chris, on behalf of everyone here, we thank you for bringing us into this space today. Acknowledging country in the form that we've just heard from Chris is a reminder of the long history of the land on which we meet, of its custodians, the Darug people, and of the charge they have given us to use this land well for teaching, learning and discovery. So I'd like to add my acknowledgement. Biawu Pujari Wallamadigal Yurin Darug Nuriyin. I speak well of the Wallamadigal people of the Darug Nation. Nuya Yurabarang Gi Nuriyin, the people who belong to this country. Biawu Gobanga Gununikan Yura Guragal Yagu. I pay respects to the elders past and present. Yunanwu Gulbanga Darug Ura Bujari Gumarwa. I walk with and respect Darug people. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by welcoming all of you here to the Wallamadigal campus of Macquarie University. Most importantly, though, I want to offer a warm and hearty congratulations to our graduands. They are meeting today on what is a magnificent occasion of celebration of their efforts. So whatever you do, remember this is about you and this is your celebration. Completing a degree is never easy. It requires determination, perseverance, hard work and dedication to purpose. Each and every one of you should feel incredibly proud of your accomplishments, because I can assure you that as a university, we are proud of everything that you've achieved. Many of you are fortunate enough to be here with family and friends. That is fantastic. For others of you, that may not have been possible. But the thing is that all of you, even in the most challenging times as you've been studying, you will have been assisted and helped through this passage by your friends, your family, your community. That sense of community, as Chris was talking about in a different context, that sense of community is incredibly important. So I want to say to all of the family and friends of our graduates, welcome to Macquarie University. And I hope that you are all as collectively as proud of this group as we are. I know you're all going to be proud of your own, but collectively this is a fantastic group of people. Now we've got, as usual, a number of young children and even babies here today. And I want everyone to know that we regard their participation in the celebration as a sign of the fact that it is really a celebration. So the little kids want to run around and make a bit of noise. Parents, please don't freak out. The only thing I'd ask of you is to collect an application form on the way out, because they're our next graduating class. To our graduating students, the support you have received is a reminder that while all of our individual efforts are very important, much of what we achieve in our lives will happen because we support one another, because we work together, because we live together as a community. In short, paraphrasing Chris, we truly are stronger together. It's important to maintain this commitment to mutual support at any time, but especially in times of great turbulence. Every generation thinks the times that they live in are particularly complex, but there is no doubt in my mind that today we confront a remarkably complex environment, perhaps the most challenging in 3/4 of a century. We face an unprecedented, complex and fraught strategic and economic environment internationally, one that is more volatile, contested and fragmented, one where the institutions and structures that all of us have come to rely upon are under attack, both from within and from without. These challenges are exacerbated, amplified and reinforced by rampant social media and a rapidly changing technological landscape. It doesn't matter where you look, but every day there's something new in cyber, AI, material science, bioengineering, quantum computing. So it's no wonder in this environment that social cohesion, that sense of what is right and wrong, what is fair and proper in our community, and that sense of tolerance that we've always prided ourselves on as Australians is under pressure. Yet how you as individuals, communities and countries navigate these challenges are going to be central to our shared prospects for peace and prosperity, no matter where you live after you've finished your time here at the university. I hope that you will look back on your education experience, not just that in Macquarie, but through your entire life, and believe that that strengthened your sense of the importance of working together for the betterment of our communities our nations and our world. As you go into the world, though, as graduates of Macquarie University, your lives will get busy with the minutiae of life, your jobs, your relationships, your families, and so on. But I would urge you, I would ask of you to keep an eye on a few issues. Ask yourself, how can I help navigate through times of great turbulence? It can be in all sorts of different areas. It can be amongst your friends and your families, it can be amongst your communities, it can be amongst your nation. But there are roles there that you can step forward and play. Ask yourself, what is my responsibility as a graduate and scholar to create a better world? Because that's what you've been here for. You haven't been here simply to get a piece of paper. You've been on a journey to actually help you become people who can contribute to our society, wherever our society might happen to be. How can we all engage in dialogue as members of our communities, whether it's the Australian community, as members of communities of other countries, or indeed as members of the global community? Now more than ever, respectful engagement and constructive dialogue are going to be central to solving the big problems that we face. And as the generation that needs to navigate their way through this, I urge you to draw on the skills and experiences you've gained here at Macquarie and through your entire education journey to help you navigate those issues and help you participate fully in the discussions that you will confront. Again, going back to what Chris said, to be successful here, though, we must be all willing to share our skills and knowledge and bring our expertise to the table. We must be all prepared to continue to intellectually grow, to be good listeners, to learn from others, and to respect a diversity of views. So I would encourage you all to remain curious, to be a lifelong learner. After all, as Mark Twain said, and I quote, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbour, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Or, put it another way, be optimistic, seek challenges, and take calculated risks. Accept there'll be some difference of opinion that this is inevitable, even amongst people who share similar motivation. Acknowledge that and commit yourselves to working for the overall good. But to do that, you'll need courage. You'll need strength. And as the great African-American writer and Nobel Prize winner Toni Morrison told another university gathering in 1996, and I quote, "Service to the individual, to the government, to the world requires unwavering commitment to intellectual freedom, to virtues already being debased by apathy or mindless rage, virtues of integrity, honour, faith, selflessness, and courage." Now, for those of us who are a bit older, that was said in 1996. It's now 2026. Whatever Toni Morrison's motivation in 1996, the situation we confront today is far, far more challenging. But I want to leave those words with you because I think they're wonderful. I think they're inspiring, and I'd urge you to remember them. We have confidence in your ability to lead. We have faith in your values and in you knowing what your North Star is. So go forward, take up the mantle of leadership and deliver a better world for all of us. One that you can be proud of, one that all of us here who are celebrating this occasion with you today can be proud of. Now, soon it will be my honour to confer your degrees and welcome you as you move from graduands to the ranks of Macquarie University graduates, i.e. alumni. First, however, it is my great pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker, Lloyd Babb, SC. Lloyd is a barrister His current cases include representing the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions in prosecuting the Bondi terrorism attack. He's been appointed as an independent reviewer by the Tasmanian Government on how to advise to reduce backlogs in the Tasmanian courts. He's been a Director of Public Prosecutions for both the Northern Territory and New South Wales. Lloyd has had a long and distinguished legal career of over 30 years, and his focus has largely been in criminal law, working both prosecutions and defence. Admitted to the New South Wales Bar in 1995, Lloyd was appointed Senior Counsel in 2007. Now, his career as a public legal administrator was shaped by his appointment in 2003 to the role of Director of New South Wales Criminal Law Review Division. And then in 2007, he was appointed the New South Wales Crown Advocate. Following this passion for leadership in law, in July 2011, Lloyd was appointed to a 10-year term as a New South Wales Director of Public Prosecutions, a term that he completed in 2021. In that position, he had responsibility for 840 staff, a $140 million budget. But for you who are graduating with law, he had a far bigger set of responsibilities. And you can reflect on what they are. The importance of ensuring justice is seen to be done and is done. Prior to his appointment as NT-DPP in 2022, he represented the Territory in the Queen versus Hoffman, at the time the second largest random shooting in Australia's history after Port Arthur. As well as many large and complex trials, Lloyd has extensive appellate experience, including the High Court, where he's appeared in many important criminal cases. He's authored and co-authored a large number of journal articles and enjoys challenging work and working collegiately to achieve results. Now, I don't know about you, but just reading that out makes me exhausted. I don't know how you've found the time to do it all, Lloyd. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to join me in welcoming Lloyd Babb to deliver the occasional address for this graduation ceremony.
Thank you, Martin. I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that Macquarie University is situated on, the Wallumattagal people of the Darug Nation. Thank you, Uncle Chris. Thank you, Sam. And I pay my respects to all Indigenous people here today. I also acknowledge the presiding officer. Thank you, Martin, for that very kind introduction. Members of faculty and staff, distinguished guests, and most importantly, graduates and those family and friends that are here to support you. I am a barrister at Sydney Chambers, now Morris Byers Chambers in the city, and I've been a barrister in private practice a couple of times in my career since leaving Macquarie University. As a barrister, it presents challenges at all levels. I remember when I started out as a barrister, initially, it gave me the opportunity for priceless learning, gathering experience, making friendships, many of which I still keep to this day, and connections, many of which I still have. Things have changed now that I'm practicing as a senior practitioner. I find that they're a fruitful field for applying that decades of experience that I've got in really interesting cases, and that the cases are never the same. And it's not only criminal cases that I get to work on. As you've heard, I'm also working on developing policy at the request of government. I also get the opportunity to act as a mentor for junior lawyers, which is something that I have always loved and has been a key feature as my work as a Director of Public Prosecutions. I made a somewhat unusual shift in terms of career, in that I moved from being the Director of Public Prosecutions for the largest office and the biggest state in Australia, and eventually moved to the smallest office and in terms of population, the smallest territory after that little tiny one that Canberra's in Australia. My career as a public lawyer gave me a lot of joy. I started off doing private work, and after a short period of time, I moved into public law, and eventually became an administrator, which is part of what the Director of Public Prosecutions does. You're the CEO of the organisation that is there to administer the criminal prosecution service for the state and try to ensure that justice is done in all cases. My journey there, and this is something that I want to raise with you graduates, my journey there took an unexpected twist, and your journeys will too. I started life very much with the idea of being a commercial lawyer, and when I was first practising at the bar, all my work was working as a junior, maybe the second junior, staying up late into the night writing draft submissions, summarising transcript from the day before in large commercial cases about money. And then, as life is, something changed, and my life changed. In my case, my wife had a rupture of a brain aneurysm, and so things changed overnight. Up until that stage, I used to work 7 days a week, maybe 16, 17, 18 hours a day, and we had a 10-month-old child, and as you could imagine, everything changed. For a while there, it was unlikely that my wife would survive. She did survive, but she had catastrophic brain injuries. So I raise this because it just shows how you can have plans for how your life is going to go, but they don't follow the plan. But you've heard the brief CV. It doesn't mean that where your life goes won't be just as rewarding, just as interesting, and perhaps, and in my case, I think, even more so. I don't think I ever got as much satisfaction out of that commercial work that I was working on as what I changed to. So my experience was that a friend who was senior in the prosecution service called me up and said, "I heard about what happened to your wife. What are you going to do?" And I said, I don't know. I'll work it out. At the moment, I'm not putting much thought into it. And he said, "Why don't you come and work as a Crown prosecutor?" And I said, "Well, for one reason, I have never done that work, so I don't think I'd really be qualified." And he said, "You'd be able to do it. You'll learn on the job." So actually, I took him up on the offer, and so they sent me for a 6-month stint out to Penrith, and that was a pretty fabulous place to start because I genuinely knew nothing about prosecuting criminal trials, and it was a great place to learn. I was in court every week. I would have 2 trials for Monday, and if one of my 2 trials didn't start, then I'd pick up the second trial of someone else. And then if unexpectedly I didn't have any trials starting on the Monday, I'd have another 2 trials for Wednesday, and they'd start. So it was trial after trial that taught me the skills that I use today when I prosecute, and defend in criminal cases. It changed my life because I didn't work as many days, I didn't work as many hours in the day. I had sole parenting responsibility for my son, who, as I said, was 10 months old when this happened to my wife, and she was in hospital and in rehab for over a year before she got home, and when she did get home, she needed a lot of help. So, but they were some of the things that, looking back in the twilight of my professional career, are the things that I'm proudest of and the things that I got the most satisfaction out of. Having parental responsibility for that period of time of my son was a fabulous opportunity that I wouldn't have otherwise have had. I was lucky enough to have other opportunities while I was a Crown Prosecutor. I took a secondment to go and work in policy. So I went to work for the Attorney General's Department, and I was the head of their criminal law section. So I was able to put the practical experience that I've been able to develop into policy action and help change the criminal laws for New South Wales, or help stop crazy changes being made, which was actually a big part of the job. You find that if any of you are interested in policy, that the newspapers and the events of the day might have people asking for a quick solution, and as a policy advisor, your job might be to explain to them why that quick solution isn't a great idea. From there, I went on to become a public defender. So the other side of the ledger in criminal cases, and I can recommend to any of those in the graduating class who are thinking of criminal law that working on both sides is a fabulous thing to do. It makes you better at being able to do the job on either side, to understand the challenges of defending people while you're prosecuting, and as a defence lawyer, how hard it is to prosecute. And they're both incredibly hard jobs. Thereafter, I became the Director of Public Prosecutions for New South Wales, and it's a challenging job. We all see the Director of Public Prosecutions in the newspaper at times, because you're making a lot of decisions in the criminal law, and some of the decisions are unpopular. Your job is to administer the law and to make sure that only those cases where there's a reasonable prospect of conviction, where the evidence can show that there's a reasonable prospect, go ahead. And sometimes you can imagine families get very unhappy if their loved one's been murdered and charges have been laid, and a senior lawyer comes in over the top and says, we're not proceeding with that trial because there's insufficient evidence. It was a fabulous job in so many ways, but there were highs and lows, as you could imagine, in that job. It was always challenging, but one of the things I really loved about it was that I met hundreds of lawyers just like yourselves, graduating lawyers starting their life in the law, if that's what you choose to do, because a lot of graduating law students don't choose to go on to practice, and that's fine too. But for those who did, I loved being the leader for them and setting an example about how to uphold the highest standards and be an officer of the court at all times. I had 10 years in the job, and as I said, there were highs and lows. The biggest low for me during that time was that my wife, who survived the initial brain aneurysm, had another 2 ruptured brain aneurysms while I was the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the second one she died from. So that was really the low point of my time as a DPP. And when you're the Director of Public Prosecutions, it's a 10-year non-renewable term. And I think that's in a sense, maybe not corruption prevention measure, but a pressure prevention measure. There's no chance of reappointment. So if someone that you're prosecuting is powerful and was either a politician or had political connections, then you don't have to worry about the decisions that you make, because you haven't got a job at the end of the 10 years regardless. So I finished my 10 years, and the first job that I got offered was prosecuting a case in the Northern Territory. There were many people shot, 4 people killed, and I jumped at that opportunity. It was in the middle of COVID, and when I got the call, I said, I'll come, but I have to be able to drive there. Because in coming up to my retirement, I'd bought a 4-wheel drive and I bought a lot of camping gear, and then COVID meant that we were locked in Sydney, so I wasn't even allowed to take this gear out. And the Northern Territory government was able to arrange that for me, so I was able to drive from Sydney through to South Australia, straight up the middle. And as soon as I got to Alice Springs, I had to go into 3 weeks quarantine. And then after that, there was no lockdown and no conditions at all in life in the Northern Territory. The population's small and so spread out that they had very few cases of COVID at all. So I was reading and preparing whilst I was camping in the Macdonald Ranges, which was a fabulous thing. I spread some of my wife's ashes in a beautiful place in the Macdonald Ranges, and enjoyed going up there to work. I enjoyed it so much, and I loved the nature and the environment up there so much that it drew me to the Northern Territory when shortly after I was there, they advertised the role of Director of Public Prosecutions for the Northern Territory, which is how I came to move from being the leader of the same organisation in the largest jurisdiction and went to the smallest. And I have no regrets about taking that role up at the beginning of 2022. It was, again, a fabulous opportunity. Probably more young lawyers as a ratio of the office, because it was harder to attract older, really experienced lawyers. So the idea in the Northern Territory, in so many organisations, including my own, but also the Northern Australian Aboriginal Justice organisation, NARJA, was you get fabulous, committed people who are willing to make the trip or already live in the Northern Territory, and you teach them how to do it well. So put that in your ideas for the future, because when you work in the Northern Territory, I used to run advertising campaigns, and my advertising campaign was fast track your career whilst making a difference. And you really did. I had a Macquarie University graduate who had been a judge's associate and had about 2 years experience come up, and after 2 years they ran a murder trial for me. So that's really fast tracking your experience, but that's possible when you go to locations that are less, in some ways, less desirable. And can I also say, socially, it was a fabulous place for young people, because a high proportion of the people were young. So they had a social network, and all of the legal profession mixed together with other young people up there, and from what I observed, and I think I had a pretty good sense of it, it was a wonderful early career step for a lot of the lawyers who went up there. I enjoyed that complex multiple murder case that I went up there to do. It wasn't my first. I'd run a case in New South Wales that also had 4 murders and ran that in the one trial. That was a gangland tit-for-tat shooting, so the murders didn't all happen on the same day. It was one drug organisation shooting at another, and then there'd be retaliation, and ultimately a group of people amassed 4 deaths. And I do enjoy being the leader of a team in prosecuting or defending large and complex cases, and that's why I see it as a privilege to be the leader of the team that is briefed by the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions to prosecute, should it go to trial, the Bondi terrorism attack. As well as loving criminal trials, I'm very interested and have a love of appellate law. It's quite different. It's not uncertain. A criminal trial runs at its own pace and has to finish, or doesn't have to finish when the day's over. You don't allot a single day for a trial. You try and run them efficiently, but they have a life of their own. If a juror gets sick, it can delay the matter. If witnesses are sick or can't come at a particular time, it can slow things down. The appellate cases that I've been involved in, particularly in the High Court, are some of the most interesting because you're setting the law for not only New South Wales but across the country. One of those cases was a case about tendency and coincidence. When can you take someone's bad prior conduct and ask an assessment to be made of that, and then use it in deciding whether they've done the same thing? Our general rule in the criminal law is that you don't introduce prior bad conduct, and one of the exceptions to that is if there's such an important and we call it probative in the law, but if the evidence is so strong and so able to influence the decision maker, that's an exception to that. And that case was a case of Hughes and the Queen, and for some of those people who are supporting you, that would mean nothing to you, but Robert Hughes was the accused in that matter, and I can see some of the parents nodding because he was a TV actor in our time, and ironically it was a case about a harmonious family, and he was the dad in Hey Dad. Another case that caught my interest, particularly in the High Court, was a case of Swan, and it's about causation in the criminal law. And to be guilty of murder, you have to have done the act causing death. And in the case of Swan, there was a poor man who was at home in an apartment. He was an elderly man, and 2 offenders broke in and stole things from the apartment. He was home at the time, and they left him badly beaten when they left. And his injuries left him with an acquired brain injury that meant he needed to go into assisted care. And when he was in assisted care, he fell over and broke his hip. And his family said, we don't want him to be treated because his quality of life is now so poor that we don't think that you should operate. And they knew that he would inevitably die. And he did. And then me as the prosecution and the police charged the two offenders who had attacked the man with murder. And the question was whether the act of beating him that led to him going into the assisted care facility where he fell over and broke his hip, even though he could have survived if the family had decided to have the operation, whether it could be still said that it was the attack that was the act causing death. And the High Court determined that, yes, that was open, and the two offenders were convicted of murder in that case. Another case in the High Court was one that I used all the time in the Northern Territory, and it was a case of Bugmy and the Queen, and it dealt with the relevance of a background of deprivation when you're sentencing offenders. And basically what that means is how much do we look at the fact that someone has had a terrible childhood and has had a lot of been exposed to violence and hasn't had good role models as a child in working out what the appropriate sentence is. And the answer is that it's always relevant, that sentencing and getting a just result is all about trying to make sure that you take into account not just the crime that the person committed, but also everything about them, both good and bad. If they've had a terrible history of doing similar bad behaviour, you take that into account, but you weigh against that the fact that there might be an explanation for why they are unable to control themselves. So in Mr. Bugmy's case, he had a terrible childhood full of domestic violence that he was the victim of and witnessed, and he attacked a prison officer by throwing a pool ball at him when he came to tell him that his family they'd come to visit him, but the visiting hours had finished. And he had very little ability to control his emotions because of the expert evidence said, because of the way he experienced events in childhood. So despite the fact that he had a long history of violent offending, his background of deprivation remained a very important feature. That I think gives you a snapshot of part of my life in the law, and I think that for those of you that go into practice, you'll find that it is constantly challenging, but you have the opportunity to at every stage do something that's important, an important event in people's lives, no matter what the case is, whether it relates to the criminal law or it's a civil and commercial case. It is a very important event for your client. My journey began here with an arts law degree, commencing in 1985, and then I had the opportunity to do a 2-year master's degree in Chicago. And my experience of Macquarie was of a dynamic, innovative and progressive law school with a commitment to small group teaching, with a commitment to active participation, and it was fertile ground for a genuinely diverse range of approaches and ideas. Just an example, the year-long history and philosophy of law course was a lens across what a legal system is, and it placed the law in context for me. And I learned not only the fundamentals of how to interpret the black letter of the law, but also the role of law in shaping society. In my memory, the university's approach favoured collaborative and collegiate learning over individual competitiveness. What I learnt at Macquarie built my capacity for and my interest in critical thinking, and it's been invaluable to my ability to engage in significant policy change processes during my legal career. I'm using those skills right at the moment because I'm the independent reviewer of the Tasmanian court system and trying to give them solutions for how to deal with the significant backlog of cases in their criminal and civil court system. As well as giving me those skills, while I worked at Macquarie, I worked at the University Union Bar and got to meet so many of the students through that experience. I played rugby and basketball for the university, and I forged some amazing and enduring friendships, and I made great networks and connections during my time here. My first job as a solicitor at a small firm came through someone who knew someone, and that person was someone I studied with at Macquarie. Years later, my first brief at the bar came from a friend who I studied with at Macquarie. I can unequivocally say that the contacts I made at Macquarie have helped me get a professional start, and even that scholarship that I took in the United States, the idea of applying for it came from meeting an American student on the same scholarship who'd come over to Macquarie to study. I'm proud of my connection with Macquarie University. I'm grateful for the education that I received here and the friendships that I made here, and the solid foundation that the university gave me for my career in the law, but probably more importantly for the resilience that you need to get through life and the challenges that will inevitably come your way. I wish you well, graduates, in your career in the law and your transition to fulfilling your own destiny and what your career holds. Just finishing the degree is a testament to you guys, but it's only the start. You are going to have challenges and achievements, and you won't know how valuable all of the things that you've learned here and all of the people that have taught you things, both the staff and your fellow students, how valuable those things are until you reflect on it when you're 60 years old like I am today. I am delighted to have had this opportunity to come back to my university and give this talk to you today, and I wish you all the very best.
One of the things that is so interesting about graduations is the occasional speaker's experience. And we've just heard from Lloyd about incredibly varied set of experiences. It's the first time, though I have ever at a graduation heard about murders as a sense of a life-affirming experience. Nor have I, prior to today, heard of unemployment as a virtue. So, Lloyd, in all seriousness, thank you for sharing that journey with us and your reflections. But for you, our graduates, the real takeout is whatever you plan, life's going to throw you a curveball. And the way you're going to play that best is to go and pursue the things that are of interest to you, not necessarily the things that somebody has told you you should do A, then B, then C, then D. If you pursue the things that are of interest, more likely than not, you're going to do it really well. And Lloyd's a prime example of that. So please join me in thanking Lloyd again. Now, as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I especially look forward to presiding at ceremonies such as today's and conferring degrees on those who have complied with the university's requirements for such awards. So I'm now going to call on our Acting Registrar, Sam Ricketts, to formally certify the eligibility of those who have met the requirements for the awards.
Chancellor, I certify that all the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees please stand?
This is the good bit, right? Up to now, it's all been theatre. In the name of Macquarie University Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each and every one of you present and those who are absent to the awards, to the award of the degrees for which you have qualified. Congratulations, graduates. Well done.
Graduates, please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Arts. I now call on Dr. Benedict Andre, Associate Dean, Students and Learning for the Faculty of Arts, to present the graduates. Dr. Andre.
Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Arts. Students and staff from the Faculty of Arts develop critical, inquiring, and curious minds. They work together within and across disciplinary boundaries to ask questions about socially complex problems. They identify paths of research, analyze and communicate ideas in creative formats, and reflect on the skills and knowledge they need in order to understand the world, past, present, and future. Students are encouraged to use their skills and talents to connect with local and global communities. This faculty includes research and study areas in ancient history, anthropology, archaeology, education, English, geography and planning, indigenous studies, international studies, law, media, music, communication, and cultural studies, modern history, politics and international relations, philosophy, sociology, security studies, and criminology. And languages, of course. Through transformative education, Faculty of Arts graduates are equipped to face societal challenges with a deep evaluative mind, strong reasoning, and well-established ethical compass. They explore their creativity and passions while developing transferable skills like communication, critical thinking, and digital literacy. These skills are extremely sought after by employers. Yet I would argue that maybe some of the most important skills that they are developing with us are perhaps those of open-mindedness, empathy, and the possibility of working together well, something that society is in dear need of today, I think. To our graduates, as you reflect on the last few years, I hope that you'll agree that Macquarie University is home to a wonderful community of people. The relationships and networks you have formed will continue to serve you well into the future as professional contacts, as academic mentors, and as lifelong friendships. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Right, now for the task of calling everyone's name with a lovely French accent. So, Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Arts whom you have admitted to degrees or awarded diplomas. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Media and Communications and Bachelor of Law Honours, class first. Yes, right person. Tamika Mental. Catherine Walker. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Security Studies and Bachelor of Laws Honours Class 1. Joshua Anderson. Alexia Caceres. Alexandra Zavelas. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Social Science with the degree of Bachelor of Law Honours, first class, not class 1. That's how nervous I am. Teresa Mir. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Law Honours, first class, Ethan Blair. James Catron. Matthew Gadd. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Laws Honours. Camille Chin. Finn Evans. Jessica Flood. Anna Garment. Trent Hannay. Benjamin Jones. Mia Mandrini. Sandra Mitro. Sky Mordaunt. Alexandra Pullen. Shani Selzer. Rajiv Shamdil. Saffron Smith. And I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of International Studies and Bachelor of Laws, Fasiha Shakir. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Media with the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Michael Sherban. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Laws, Georgia Allen. Nicholas Dickman. Georgia Georgievic. Renee Gersh. Connor Goff. Rihanna Harlem Bidges. Talia Howell Manley. Jamila Hughes. Joseph Hyde. Louise Kwan Coleman. Natalie Lombropoulos. Jennifer Lang. Ariadna Mares. Micaela Mariano. Hiba Matar. Georgia Mikalev. Ryan Mitru. Harrison Moroni. Tanishpreet Multani. Nariman. Jude Nobel. Isabella O'Connor. Maria Pavkovic. Neil Pinto. Emilia Price. Dwaraka Ratnasiva. Can feel the French accent coming stronger and stronger as I read the names. Apologize. Jessica Shaheen. Alisha Sharma. Rebecca Shaw. Gabrielle Smith. Joseph Sobi. Sarah Soliani. Lucas Swain. Dylan Virana. Callum Watts. Lara Webbe. Sophie Wickens. All right, I've been told, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake. I read the name wrong, so I would like to do it again because it's important to get it right. You only do that once, so I truly apologize. So the names again. So, Jana Georgievich. I'm glad you actually picked up on it. I think it's important to have it right, and it shows that, you know, you have the courage and the passion that we talked about before, so well done. Oh, yes, yeah, fair enough. present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts with the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Kerry Lee O. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Laws, Kristen Fuchs. I present the graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of International Studies and Bachelor of Laws, Amir Aloy. Jasmine Hai. Milka Jovic. Diana Mendes. Kyle McPherson. Rebecca Michaels. Ashlyn Reese. Olivia Spiteri. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Media and Communications and Bachelor of Laws, Sabrina Alvarez. Stéphanie Cereto. Jasmine Choi. Pipe Day. Isabella Follows. Danielle Gatt. Natasha Hamdi. Jasmine Kaur. Jacqueline Phillips. Pavitra Ravi. Bridget Tesoriero. Maxwell Bananzisi. And Samuel Woodhouse. And I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Security Studies and Bachelor of Laws. Sophie Berekloff. Cassandra Brill. Catherine Brown. Sarah Brown. William Crichton. Emma Goctus. Hugh Graham. Jasmine Haji. Isha Hatiskar. Liam Koo. Ashley Lau. Ella Lucas. Gervie Amand. Madison McGrath. Sophie Millard. Matsumi Patel. Levi Reed. And Alessandro Romeo. And now present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Security Studies with the degree of Bachelor of Laws. Rimsha Acharya. Kara Francis Sadek. And I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Social Science and Bachelor of Laws. Emilia Attard. Jackson Brown Beresford. Sebastian Hain. Jonathan Lafosse. Janaya Lee. Claudia Wijaya. And I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Laws. Georgia Abraham. Monica Albaye. Youssef Ali. Moses Al-Saya. Ahmed Ayad. Mia Benson. Gabriela Bessa. Jacqueline Bineman. Tara Blog. Elizabeth Brown. Kaya Brown. Monique Baksh. Trisha Canaveral. Jackson Carr. Jacobina Camden. Lucinda Corran. Ella Cotrona. Grace Crowley. Madison Dawes. Abby De Bono. Claire Fanelli. Zach Farr. Cindy Fitzpatrick. Nairi Gaha. Marisa Ghazali. Kaylee Gillum. Amor Hamadash. Julia Hayden. Ji Yeon He. Thomas Hinwood. Nicole Homsey. Perline Hovsepian. Krishan Howley. Madison Ibrahim. Sean Kafua. Jet Kalaf. Tiani Kasbarian. Madeleine Kennedy. Paris Khan. Joshua Lillicrop. Koliep Lim. Gabrielle McCready. Shan Mahajan. Dean Masmanidis. Georgia Mowat. Hannah Mowat. Alina Mosseni. Alexis Moubarak. Chantal Narceau. Trish Nguyen. Alex O. Desiree Pamplona. Vitika Parasha. Michael Poreka. Angus Redmond. Sean Ringrose. Claudel Sadi. Sharik Sami. Zashal Shahid. Isabella Mary Shamoun. Cheryl Sharon. Lucy Sherlock. Naomi Shivaraman. Holly Smith. Maya Tanus. Afrula Thomas. Fahed Kleji. Lucas. Can I go? Okay. I'll go now. I'll go now. Lucas Tomic. Byron Worthington. Stéphanie Z. I now present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Criminology and Master of Laws, Mohamed Usman. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of International Business and Master of International Trade and Commerce Law, Kevin Novaldi Tajaya. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Business and Master of Laws, Tobato Awatabu. Again? Hang on, I'll do it again. Tabo Awatabu. Yeah? Tabo Awatabu. Fushi Taeya. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Relations and Master of International Trade and Commerce Law. Mrinalini Menon. Sheikh Samsun Noor. And I present graduates admitted to the degree of Juris Doctor, Annie Abartsounian. Adriana Anajan. Sarah Cassidy Schroeder. Amelia Chadwick. Oliver Dostal. Jinli Oh. Kate Fenwick. Corazon Garcia Quitola. Rachel Holden. Janice Jamour. Lucy O'Brien. Shane Osborne. Alexandra Renouf. April Sayat. Fardol Sayadian. Madeleine Solomon. Sharon Chin Lun Wai. Jessie Warren. Jia Yan Christine Xie. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Trade and Commerce Law. Bradley Dolan. Junyan Liu. Tio Lin Win. And I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Laws. Caroline Arrow-Boglian. Patbol Dalche. Alfredo Halim. Katrine Michelle Nathalie. Chancellor, a higher degree by research is awarded to a graduate who has successfully completed a program of study in which the defining characteristic is research. Our Master of Research is a 2-year full-time equivalent research training degree consisting of research-based coursework, postgraduate research training, and a major research project. Graduates have focused on a specific research topic to produce a thesis up to 2,000 to 20,000 words in preparation for a doctoral degree. I now present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Research in Arts. Lukuli Yanu Wijesena. For a thesis entitled Case Managing the Unmanageable, New South Wales Vexatious Litigants and Their Many Days in Courts. The University Medal is the university's most prestigious academic award and is awarded to students who have demonstrated exceptional academic excellence throughout their studies at university. Chancellor, I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Laws Honours First Class with the University Medal for Law and recipient of the Macquarie University Award for Academic Excellence, Karen Campbell. your patience while I was reading through the list, and many of you would have never heard your name maybe pronounced in the way that you have today, so I hope I did you justice. Chancellor, that completes this afternoon's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Arts.
Chancellor, I call on Naomi Vali Shivaraman, who graduated with a Bachelor of Laws, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Naomi.
Chancellor, distinguished guests, staff, colleagues and graduate friends, it's a real honour to stand here today and speak on behalf of this incredible graduating cohort. I'm Naomi Shivaraman, and in exactly 1 week's time, I turn 43. And today, alongside my fellow graduates, I have my very first degree, an LLB. I've been a journalist for 25 years, for places such as Channel 7 and 60 Minutes. I started my career on work experience at age 14 at a radio station in Perth. I hated school, which makes it even more surprising that I'm standing here today. During my media career, I interviewed celebrities, politicians, ordinary people in extraordinary situations, and people at the centre of either huge tragedy or adulation, and those suffering from the consequences of big mistakes, many parallels to the law. I have seen the extremities of life, and my observation is that having purpose is a commonality between all people of different backgrounds. I hope that the last few years have given you all a sense of purpose, regardless of what you have all gone through. As a lot of you may have experienced, circumstances can suddenly change in life, as Lloyd Babb pointed out earlier. Us journalists, we know the power of a story, and as we commonly say, love a yarn. And for all of you sitting here today, there's a story of how and why you came to have your LLB here today. You had a whole other life prior to Macquarie University. Please take a moment to reflect on what you've been through and be proud. For some of you, you've done this degree straight out of high school. For others, such as us mature age students, it's come in between the juggle of other careers, jobs, children, travels, struggles, and perhaps running a business. There's also been sacrifice. Some of you did this degree while dealing with real financial hardship. Others may have been struggling with mental health, physical illness, relationship breakdowns, or personal tragedies. You may have even stopped and started the degree and beaten yourself up over it, or maybe you've had many existential crises. And that's okay, because regardless of how you got here, life isn't linear. We are often conditioned to believe that hitting a peak is validation, or we're attached to a fantasy of how our lives should turn out. But remember, there are many peaks and life is a series of chapters, and graduating today marks one of them. Doing this degree has made me realise that Australia's legal system is far from perfect. There are still many injustices, disparities, and access to justice is simply unaffordable for many. However, I do have an appreciation for concepts such as the separation of powers, procedural fairness, and the rule of law, that natural justice and the presumption of innocence and the right to a fair trial and a fair hearing are integral to a democratic society. We don't advance society by abandoning these principles. Having spent decades in the media and now studying law, I've seen both contrasting courts, the court of public opinion and the court of law. The court of public opinion is brutal, especially in the age of social media and cancel culture, where mob mentality can take over with no rules of evidence. The court of law, by contrast, values due process, evidence and reason. And beyond all of that, there is the law that we write for ourselves, what we choose to be responsible for, how we act each day, and how we treat others. Beyond the grades, the education we've been so fortunate to have is so important, especially in these times of moral tribalism, where it's become easier to spend time only with people who think like us, who agree with us, and to view anyone with opposing views or politics as bad or not worth engaging in, and to stay in the echo chamber. But the power of education is in ideas, the ability to take different perspectives and engage with positions that contradict our own. In a tutorial, we do this all the time with civility. We've learnt that practice here at Macquarie University, and we must extend it to our broader life, where breaking bread over differences of opinion is vital for community and society. It's become too easy to dehumanise those who we disagree with. Diversity must go beyond skin deep. In a society that is increasingly divisive and binary, true diversity is that of ideas and discussion. A university education which encourages us to take a devil's advocate position and to argue the other side is incredibly valuable, especially when social media algorithms feed us confirmation bias every day. Diversity of perspectives often arises from a diversity of backgrounds and circumstance, but perspectives and ideas can and do change. And education teaches us nuance and to attack the idea and not the person. These values might sound idealistic, and they are, but they are also foundational to a flourishing society. The digital world has overconnected us, but never have we been so disconnected and lonely from our fellow human beings. Value those relationships in person. Grab a coffee with that friend if you're feeling alone. And when you do, bring a generosity of spirit. Because beyond our degrees and whatever you all do next, be ready to lead by example, not for your own sake, but in service to a purpose greater than yourself. Even if we can't change the world on a large scale, you can achieve true leadership and influence by engaging in civil dialogue with the people you interact with on a daily basis. Relationships come and go, jobs can come and go, material things come and go, but what you've achieved here and what it's given you will stay with you for the rest of your life. Your LLB is here to stay. Teaching can be a thankless job. I would like to thank the Dean of Law, Dr. Lise Barry, who on Orientation Day in 2020 shared her story of other previous careers and the importance as well for having a flair for writing, which is especially relevant in this current age where formulaic ChatGPT writing involves an overuse of M dashes and quote key takeaways. I'd also like to thank Dr. Andrew Burke, the Deputy Dean and my teacher for 2 criminal law subjects, who, might I add, he role plays a great accused person in custody for the bail oral assignment, which was also one of my favourite assignments of all time. We actually have a proper criminal lawyer here, so we don't have to do the bail assignment anymore. And finally, there are so many other terrific teachers, too many to name, but I'll name a few. Dr. Zara Bending, Dr. Lisa Rybak, Dr. Ilya Vikovic, Dr. Harry Melkonian, Tony Antonio, and so many more who have had an impact on my education. I'd also like to thank Amira and the graduating team for doing such an incredible job on this event. And it's such a huge event as well. But Amira and team, you can basically either run the Oscars or run the state. Woo. And finally, thank you to everyone's friends and family who are here today. And I'd also like to thank my dear friends who gave up their day from work in the audience. Former state opposition leader Kerry Chikarovsky, a trailblazer for women in politics. journalist Julia Bradley, who's been here before for her own brother's law graduation a couple of years ago, my Black Bay Lawyers colleagues, Monica Allen and Liam Cox. And finally, thank you all, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
What a great way to finish up a day of celebration. Naomi, I think you've brought together the things that our guest speaker raised, which Chris raised, which I raised. I think one of the big threats to social cohesion is the willingness to, rather than engage with the ideas of the other person, but to impugn their motive. And you've just reminded us why that is the wrong thing for us to do, and is particularly the wrong thing for a bunch of people who have been educated in the art of curiosity and learning to do. So thank you very much, and everybody, please join me again.
Mais si je t'aime,
Distinguished guests, please join me in expressing our appreciation to Yolanda Lorenzetto of Coast Opera Australia for that superb performance. Please also join me in thanking our musicians on the organ, the wonderful Heather Mowen-Boyd. And on the Chinese transverse flute, the just as incomparable Dr. Chai Chang-Ning. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank the representatives of our alumni community. They generously offer their time to ensure that days like this run smoothly, and we couldn't do it without them. So please join me in thanking them. And finally, while you can't see them, please join me in thanking our technical crew who are up the back and up the top. They make sure that we're not just heard here in the hall, but they actually live stream the event so that those of you who have friends and family who couldn't be here are able to participate in this event. Now, graduates, this ceremony is a rite of passage without a doubt, but I hope it's not the end of your connection with Macquarie University. You're now part of a family of alumni, a group of more than 247,000 people in over 150 countries. We're going to keep in touch with you, and hopefully you'll keep in touch with us through the alumni program. When you can, please make sure you come back to campus, maybe even undertake some more study. But most importantly, remember the responsibilities you have now as graduates. Continue the hard work that has got you to this point. Set demanding goals for yourself, goals to better your community. Retain that sense of curiosity, and above all, pursue your dreams. And remember the people who helped you along the way, because some of those are here today, and I want to acknowledge their support to you, but I'd like you to stand and acknowledge their support for you, please. Please stand and give all these people next to us and behind us a vote of our appreciation. Thank you very much. Now, I can see there's one gentleman here who's particularly keen on a vote of appreciation, but I'll leave that afterwards, so you guys can do that. Now, return to the front, please, and again, remain standing, because on the dais with me here are representatives of our academic staff, the people who've taught you and supported you all the way through. So I'd really like you to join me in giving them a vote of thanks for everything they've done for you. Finally, and most importantly, turn to one another and give yourselves a resounding vote of thanks, because you deserve it. Congratulations. Graduates, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates of Macquarie University, on behalf of the staff, the faculty and the continuing students, I again offer you our warmest congratulations. For all of you joining us here today, family and friends, I thank you on behalf of the entire Macquarie community, but in particular on behalf of your graduates. I'm going to now invite our newest graduates and their families to join us on the portico outside and share in some refreshments. I really hope that everybody has the opportunity to wander around our beautiful campus, and hope that today will remain a special place in your memories in the years ahead. I'm now going to ask everybody to stand and just wait until the official party has left the hall, and then please join us outside. And thank you very much for everything.